Yes, they had surprisingly inexpensive for bourbon. I was expecting to be gouged, and in every other way with food and everything else, it was festival prices. But I had a spectacular array of different bourbons, including some just local small ones there, all different kinds, and you could get a neat pour. Just walk up and they'll give you a pour, and you're off on the races. So it was epic. There were these shows or sort of comedians that would come in, and I saw Jim Gaffigan, if you know him, but he's a funny guy, but it was very clear that he had sampled his own bourbon a little too much
Yeah.
beforehand, and wasn't that funny, but it was sort of funny watching him. But he was basically up there hawking his own bourbon, so it was a good time.
Yeah, if you're going to overprice something, it's not the bourbon you want at a festival that you want to overprice. You want to make that as affordable as possible, keeps everyone happy and moving forward. Welcome back. Today's guest on Wired Garage is Matt Coatney. He's a technology executive, author, entrepreneur, and recognized leader in artificial intelligence and digital innovation. He's currently the CIO of a firm, co-author of the Human Cloud, and a TEDx speaker with over 25 years of experience driving change at the intersection of technology and business. From launching AI-powered solutions to pioneering digital transformations, Matt's perspective is both deep and refreshingly practical. We'll dive into this recent weekend at Louisville's epic Bourbon and Beyond Festival. Explore what tech, music, and a little Kentucky bourbon can teach us about today's rapidly changing world. Welcome, Matt, to the garage.
Thanks, guys. Looking forward to it.
All right. So as we start this, you went to a festival in Louisville. I went to a festival in Louisville. I'm hoping that you'll tell me about yours and I'll tell you about mine. I went to Louder Than Life, and then the prior weekend is Bourbon and Beyond. What was that like, and did you actually go see Benson Boone? Because I know a few people, I'd never hear the end of it.
I think I missed that day. I was there for 2 of the 4 days. So first, I have not been to a festival, not counting one earlier this year, which we can cover as well, but I had not been to a festival since the 1990s when Lollapalooza was still touring. So I've been to many shows, but had not been to a festival in over 2+ decades, 3 decades. It was amazing. I went myself on Friday because I have been a avid Phish listener and fan for 30 years, and I had never seen them live. I don't know why. It's sort of criminal with how much of a fan I am, but that was an opportunity they headlined that day. And then my wife and I went on these alternative binge on Sunday. All sorts of great bands, including Squirrel Nut Zippers, if you remember them. And I'm blanking now on all the ones, but there were so many good ones.
I might have a list of a couple of them pulled up. Collective Soul, Noah Kahan, I know a couple really good tracks. Jack White, The Lumineers.
Yeah. Those were all in the days I was not there.
Foreigner and Pat Benatar look like too.
I saw Foreigner. That's right.
Man, even the Gin Blossoms were there.
Yeah, we saw Gin Blossoms. They were great. I've seen them live probably 8 or 9 times, and they're always a great show.
And Spin Doctors, and I think on the radio I usually hear the Spin Doctors and then they play Gin Blossoms. They're like almost in the same order.
Yes. So yes, but seeing Phish was a once in a lifetime experience for me. I was over the moon.
Man.
So what was it like as far as a festival goes? The bands, but then is there anything on the side like the bourbon? I get thought about the bourbon, right? You got the music, but you're in Kentucky, right? It's about the bourbon, right? So
I do love the bourbon. Yes, they had surprisingly inexpensive for bourbon. I was expecting to be gouged, and in every other way with food and everything else, it was festival prices. But I had a spectacular array of different bourbons, including some just local small ones there, all different kinds, and you could get a neat pour. Just walk up and they'll give you a pour, and you're off on the races. So it was epic. There were these shows or sort of comedians that would come in, and I saw Jim Gaffigan, if you know him, but he's a funny guy, but it was very clear that he had sampled his own bourbon a little too much beforehand and wasn't that funny, but it was sort of funny watching him. But he was basically up there hawking his own bourbon. So it was a good time.
Yeah, if you're going to overprice something, it's not the bourbon you want at a festival that you want to overprice. You want to make that as affordable as possible, keeps everyone happy and moving forward. And everything else you can price it out of the moon, but keep the bourbon low.
Yeah, I imagine it wasn't so expensive because it's made so close. It didn't have to travel far.
There's also that.
So in terms of bourbon, regular bourbon. Do you have any favorites?
Yes, all of the above.
That's awesome.
I do more bourbon than rye, although I enjoy mixing it up and going rye for some time occasionally. I'm a big fan of Willet, which is a smaller batch one that's very good, and they have a couple of different lines as well. There's also one called Peerless that is one of the original ones. They actually sold whiskey to Al Capone and all that kind of like they were all mixed up in the whole Chicago mob scene. And then they got closed down during Prohibition. And like the great grandson started it back up again with the original recipe, and the first few years they could only do ryes because they just had to sort of make it quickly. And then they got into bourbons and all that. But yeah, it's very good stuff. High proof stuff, but tasty.
Yeah, the proof is in the pudding there.
So tell me about Louder Than Life, right?
Yes. So that is a little bit Bourbon and Beyond. We warm you up. We give you the 90s alternative, the easy listening, the joyful listening, and then Louder in Life is the heavier on the heavier side, rock, metal. Saw Luke, old coworker we used to work with on Friday, was Slayer. I think it is very high energy, and we do get gouged on the bourbon there. Which I think is not by accident. I think that's very much on purpose. It's a little pricey to drink there. They have you'll have to tell me if the setup is the same because I've never been to Bourbon and Beyond. I'm so curious about this. This was the biggest Louder Than Life that I've ever been to. I've been going since 2017. Not every year, but most years. And this year they had 7 stages, and the carnival, not carnival. What's that thing called? The theme park that is
Kentucky Kingdom. Yes.
Yes. They rented out Kentucky Kingdom and made it part of Louder Than Life. And so you could listen to music while you're on the Ferris wheel. And then they had the roller coaster that was open, all kinds of stuff there. Actually, I was talking to some folks in line, and they were helping me not look down as I was over on top of the Ferris wheel while a band was playing. And I think there were 240,000 like tickets sold, so about like 80,000 people. And I was there for all 4 days. By the last day, you're tired. You're ready. You're ready to go home. The first couple days, super high energy. You cannot wait to keep going. I do take some of the public transportation there, which is what I call crowd surfing. Got some great photos of that. I think the coolest thing though is seeing like little kids either getting surfed very carefully,
Yes,
or folks in like wheelchairs being crowd surfed, and everyone making sure that they get across and they get that experience. And I think it's just such a wild event that brings together so many different people. You can have a great time, get all gouged on whiskey and bourbon together. I think one of the personal highlights for me is this little music tent that they have every year where you can go play guitar. So that's always fun. Hopefully they've got that at the Bourbonist. Yes,
They
the
have that as
music
well.
experience. I think that's called. They have the little shred contest. I haven't done it yet. I need to do that. I think the most interesting thing about what happened this time is last year, it's 4 days. Last year, there was a hurricane that I think it blew through on Saturday, whatever day Slayer was headlining last year, and they had to cancel the entire day. And This year, they moved most of it to be over the asphalt instead of where it was last year. It was muddier last year after that. And this year, they had rain as well. And I think they're just, Danny Wilmer is cursed. And the good thing is they didn't have to cancel the whole day, but I was really looking forward to seeing Malmsteen, like old, he's 70s, 80s shredder, and they had to cut him. And it's so
That
sad
hurts.
because I was looking forward to that. I got to see Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, probably just a little bit prior, maybe less than a year ago. And then that's Malmsteen is like the last like great acts with like Zach Wild, and I've seen Zach Wild. Obviously, there's a ton of awesome guitar players, but when I think of what was it? They had a tour together. Actually, all those folks, Generation X, I think was the name of the tour. So they all toured together, and I
Very
did not
appropriate.
touch that. But yeah, it is just high energy. You're trying to not burn in the sun and ride theme park rides during a music festival, which is just so strange. And if you're not wearing your Nikes, you're gonna wish you were, because with 7 stages and the short little intervals, what was your strategy for that? How did
Yeah.
when you have so many bands?
I had a whole calendar lined up. They did it well, and I imagine it was the same there, where they had maybe 6, they counted 6 stages, but the 2 main stages, they alternated immediately after. So one band was sort of setting up, their gear was setting up while the other band was performing. So it was pretty much back to back. And there were the 2 main stages, the 2 side stages. And then there was this great little, almost like a revival tent with just a small stage and lines of bourbon. All the different distilleries were there. And some of the best shows that I saw there was a great one that I saw that was very moving. And there was a lot of, and it was in that smaller stage, so it was more intimate. But my plan was sort of, I had the anchor ones that I knew I wanted to see on the main stage, which weren't that many, but most of my time was, unfortunately, to your point, it was like an airstrip, asphalt all the way down the run with 2 stages at the end, nothing but concrete. It was 95 degrees, but all the more obscure bands were back there, and that's where I spent most of the day, just baking.
Actually, that reminds me. So I did get to watch one of the more intimate acts, which I think is, yeah, it doesn't matter. But it was nice to see them so up close, and then they were surrounded by the bourbon on both sides. I can't remember what that bourbon tent is called. Something
Being,
wild.
10 feet away, and
Yeah,
Jet Holden was the one that I saw that was just really bluegrass country kind of singer, but all acoustic, just him and an acoustic guitar up there singing,
that's so
and
cool.
very soulful, very, very great. But yeah, Brian, it was a combination of like 3 of my favorite genres. It was jam bands, it was these alternative, and it was bluegrass. And those 3 are like, those are my top 3. But Pigeons Playing Ping Pong, if you're into jam bands and you like Phish, which I'm guessing neither of you are, but if you are, Pigeons Playing Ping Pong was super fun. I want to see them in live again. I'm going to miss their show when they come through Cincinnati, but they were my favorite find of the festival. But
I will have to look them up.
Great name to boot.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've only been to one festival in my life. It was back in 1990, if that ages me a little bit. A country concert up at Fort Laramie.
Nice.
It's, Sawyer Brown and Chubby Checker, I think, was even one of them up there playing. But it's a different type of scenario. I mean, nowadays it's bigger and better than it ever was back then. And I did get to see Malmsteen one time.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Around the same time period, I got to see Malmsteen open up for Lita Ford on the Kiss tour at Hare Arena. So Matt knows Hare Arena, a very cozy concert venue that's no longer there. The tornado, it was destroyed before that, but pretty much destroyed by tornado after that. But it was very small, and it just, you felt every bit of your body was feeling every bit of the music. But yeah, Malmsteen, Black and Blue, and Lita Ford, the Kiss Me Deadly tours.
Wow, that's super jealous. Yeah, I hope you had earplugs for that. Even for the festival, always wear earplugs. When you mentioned the intimate setting, that actually reminded me of one more thing. I was going to kind of top up my bourbon, and I walked into this thing called I think it's called the Headbangers Ball. So it's completely dark in there. They have a little DJ, and reminds me of like the VH1 or MTV show.
Yeah, the MTV show. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was walking in there, and I was refilling it, and I look over to my right, And it was just weird. And there were a bunch of folks kind of gathered together, and then there was someone talking on a microphone there. The DJ wasn't playing music, and there was actually a couple getting married there at Louder Than Life, right in front of me, inside this tent. I mean, a tent's bigger than a tent, but not too much bigger. While I'm getting my bourbon, and I'm just thinking, man, what a place! This is awesome. Great time to be alive. What a way to get married.
Yeah. People find the most unique ways of doing it. If it's about memories, that's what you do, right?
Yeah.
And then they went and got on the Ferris wheel afterwards. It's
That's
perfect.
right. And you didn't have to, buy that $30 chicken meal that you had to serve to 70 or 80 to 100 different people, right? You're all just rocking together. So
I'll tell you what, the island noodles,
Yes.
extremely reasonably priced, and I ate it all weekend long. Not sponsored, just love them. Oh, but if you want to sponsor, reach out. No, I'm just kidding. So
what else with music or anything you guys have done or anything interesting you guys did this summer?
oof,
You were talking
man,
about concerts. So just go back a little bit about how you got so many different types of people, and everybody just gets along, enjoying the music, and just enjoying life. It just proves to you, we have through doing an AI thing, humanity isn't as bad as you think it is. As much as the TVs want to tell you. I mean, when you go to these concerts like that, I don't go on the short cruises. I go on the longer cruises. But when I go on cruises, so many different types of people from all walks of life, and my wife always gives me a hard time because I'm talking to everybody. I'll sit down and just chat it up with somebody, but that's the way I like it. I come back thinking, life isn't that bad. Our country isn't really that bad. When you get past all the noise of the ends, people really do enjoy each other. And it's easy to do. You find one thing in common, boom, you're on it. Louder than the music, the bourbon, whatever it is. And I just find every time I go to this events, I always find it, just reassuring that, it's not as bad as news tells me.
you just need bourbon, food, and music.
That's right. That's
all
all.
problems.
That's all you need. And maybe
Makes the world go
get
round.
married in the middle of it. Who knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the funny thing was they just met that morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we did so my oldest went off to college.
Oh,
This
wow. That's a big move.
big move. So we
Congratulations.
went on a West Coast road trip for his sort of final trip before crying out, which was amazing. I'd never been anywhere but the big cities out there. I had been to sort of Mount Rainier and sort of the more mountainous sides of Washington, which is beautiful. Beautiful. But I had never been to Oregon, and the Oregon coastline is epic.
Yes,
The
it is.
Redwoods, Big Sur. That was probably one of my favorites. Just, yeah, it's like, who knew in this, giant populous state how beautiful it can be once you get away from the main urban areas. Yeah, it was
And you traveled down the coastline? How far?
We did. So we did the Pacific Coast Highway, the one pretty much all the way down until there's a landslide in Big Sur, so you have to sort of backtrack a bit and go inland. But we went from Seattle to LA. We ended appropriately at Disneyland because we are Disney people. But it was just shy of 2,000 miles. I looked, it was in like 1,938 miles. Yeah, a little bit of driving.
I've been to Mount Rainier because we did a Alaskan cruise. So we flew to Seattle. I spent a weekend, and that's just so beautiful up through there. And then, and they say like if you get on each side of the area, that you can have all 4 seasons in the same day, kind of a thing, depending on where you are in the area. And I've been north of San Francisco to the vineyard wineries and all that kind of stuff. My wife went. Is one of the few, I never thought I would enjoy San Francisco, but I did enjoy it. It was a nice. You get past some of the begging areas, and it's probably worse now than it was back then. But that was beautiful. It's just I wish I would have done what you did. I'm jealous just to go all the way down that highway. People just talk, about it, marvelously.
It was great time.
Did you go? So if you started in Seattle and you went south, I'm wondering if you went through Astoria, Oregon. Did you take that bridge?
We did. We went to the Goonies Coast.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then down south, probably through Seaside, Cannon Beach.
You got it. Yeah.
Rockaway Beach. Yeah. Used to live in Oregon. Absolutely absolutely beautiful out there. Love it. I don't know if retirement is still a thing. I don't know that I'd ever be able to retire. I feel like my brain just goes too much. But hopefully at some point we'll be out there just enjoying the beach and the sand. It's just beautiful. This last August, I think last year, went to Oregon and Washington, and Washington was just gorgeous driving. As you said, it's just beautiful. Oregon is beautiful. Um, there is so I have a girlfriend. She likes to go to spas, and she tried to get a pedicure at this one spa place. It was a Turkish, like, bathhouse was one of the services that they offered, and they would just bathe you, and that's what I love about Oregon is the keep Oregon weird is 100% true. I think one of my favorite stories about something that somebody else has seen in Oregon is just somebody walking down the street in a half suit of armor. Yep. So
I
lots
won't
of
ask
fun
which
memories
half.
there.
Yeah.
Bottom half, luckily.
Okay. Okay. All right. All
Yes.
right.
But yeah,
It's on a
it's
payment
I love
plan.
it.
He's still working out the rest. So yes.
Yeah, Klarna. Klarna.
Yeah, Clark, that's right.
His ex-wife gets half.
Mhm.
What
How about
else?
you, Brian?
Huh?
Yeah, how about you?
You know,
I know
we
you
went
had
on a
some.
cruise, went to the Caribbean with a family. So two of my daughters and grandkid, and stuff like that, and some in-laws from my daughter's side. So that was fun. I spent most of my summer with my granddaughter and my new grandson. He's 8 months old, I think, just a week ago. So pops times two here, and enjoying life that way. So I can't imagine. I just sit there. I can't get up. But I get down on the floor and, you know, just have a heyday with them, and then try to have them look somewhere else when I'm trying to get back up, and not laugh at me when I try to get back up. So, but
You're young enough still. Yeah.
yeah, I got a daughter graduating from college this December. Yeah, she went to South Korea last winter, and now she's back and she's teaching somewhere, and so she's doing good. So yeah, just it's been a mostly family cruise, but mostly a family summer. So still, you're traveling all over the place for work. So what else? Where have you been?
Me,
Yeah.
Minnesota, St. Louis, North Carolina, Cincinnati. I think in a couple weeks I'm flying back to Cincinnati and then going to Baltimore, driving to West Virginia. All kinds of stuff kind of going on. Some of it business, some of it pleasure. I think the struggle that I have now is when I land in an airport, it's I've been here before. Which airport is this? Like sometimes I'll land and I'll think I'm in a different state. I'll be driving somewhere and I'm like, wait, am I driving to my house? Am I driving where am I going?
Where's
And
the
I
Uber
just
line? Yeah.
yeah, and it almost reminds me of Fight Club a little bit, where the main character is like waking up in different airports. Just the amount of travel is kind of jarring. And so looking forward at some point in time to not travel as much. The plus side is I get to see a lot of the country. I get to see different states, different cultures, how different folks live, tried chicken wings, absolute favorite food. Love make them in different places and just see how different folks do it. This year, and I planned it in February, we went to Hawaii for the first time. I've never been. Went to Honolulu, Oahu. If you've never been, holy smokes, highly recommend it. Fun fact, that was, so we were out there for like 10 days or so. I'm back for one full day, and then the next day fly out to Kentucky for Louder Than Life. I did not plan that way. We were supposed to go in October, but for scheduling of hotels and stuff, I had to change it to September. Let me tell you, exhausted. Just just exhausted. Again, then traveling back and forth after that. So it's a ton of travel, and I've kind of lived all over. But I would say my favorite state that I've ever lived in is definitely Oregon. Cincinnati definitely has a place in my heart. I introduce it to everybody as the other Sin City. It's Oregon is just beautiful. It's gorgeous out there.
Well,
I think my favorite food is Cincinnati.
what's that?
I'd say my favorite food is Cincinnati. When I think about all my favorite restaurants, they're all in Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
The food's just amazing. It's so good.
Well, we hit our time here. Thanks, Matt, for joining us. Great conversation. Love to hear about this Bourbon and Beyond. It's got to be a place for somebody to hit next year when it's back again.
I'm already planning for it.
There we go. There we go. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. And I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.
Yeah, on the next one.